Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Talk some Derek Carr coming up in the next segment. Big news over the weekend that Derek Carr is out, well, probably out for the season. So we'll discuss what that means for New Orleans here coming up. I'll just be real direct. Yesterday was the greatest golf tournament I've ever watched. Ever. Tiger winning the Masters in 2019 was amazing. I would certainly put the duel that Henrik Stenson and Phil Mickelson had when they just left the field in the dust at the Open Championship. When Stenson won it, that was a phenomenal one-on-one matchup. And we've seen brilliant things. Tiger at Pebble running away from the field. Tiger completing the Tiger Slam at Augusta. We've seen some great stuff, but I can't think of a better, more dramatic golf tournament. It had everything yesterday at Augusta. Everything. You had a generational player on the cusp of the career Grand Slam that he had been chasing for a decade. You had another top 5 player in the world. The rankings won't say it, but I'll say it. Bryson DeChambeau is a top 5 player in the world in his group. You had a legendary round from Justin Rose to vault into the lead. You had atrocious golf shots. You had brilliant golf shots. You had choking. You had a playoff. You had drama. You had emotion. You had the crowd. It had every single ounce of the recipe that you need to produce a thriller. And it was absolutely gripping from start to finish yesterday. I mean, Rory starts the day with a double. And then he doesn't birdie 2 because he drives it in the bunker. Bryson birdies 2. The lead's gone. Like that. And you're thinking, I mean, Rory has been playing with this massive weight on his shoulders for 10 years. Because you come flying out of the gates and win 4 major championships before your 25th birthday. And everyone says, okay, this is the guy that's going to complete the career Grand Slam. He's going to be the greatest, maybe European major champion ever. And he can't get it done. He had the heartbreak in 2011 where he made the turn with a 4-shot lead and ended up shooting 80, snap hooked it on 10 into the cabins, snap hooked it again on 13 into the Whit Creek, and he's had some close calls at Augusta. He's finished second, made some late runs, but he's never been able to get it done. And then he couldn't get it done in any major championships. And you've got heartbreak as Cam Smith runs him down at St. Andrews. And then last year at Pinehurst, where he missed 2 putts shorter than any putts he had missed in the entire PGA Tour season to allow Bryson to come back and beat him. And that scar tissue and that heartbreak and everybody consistently telling him every single year when he got to Augusta, hey, when are you going to get the Grand Slam? Hey, when are you going to get the Grand Slam? Hey, when are you going to get the Grand Slam? And then on top of that, you've got Jack Nicklaus and Tom Watson picking him to win. You've got everyone saying that this is the year he's going to do it. And you got to go out there and play with that. And then he gags on himself on Thursday and makes 2 late doubles, including one just indefensible shot from the back of 15. But he comes back with a 66 and he puts himself in position and he's got that 2-shot lead. And then, boom, he makes double in the first hole. But in typical Rory fashion, he hits a ridiculously great shot on 4, closes with a strong finish on 9. Bryson's falling apart. He snap hooks it in the water on 11. I know that shot very well. But Rory, you felt like once Rory played 12 and he got behind that hole that has bitten so many over the years. Francesco Molinari, Jordan Spieth. It's bitten, guys. And he got by 12. So now he gets to play 13, which is a birdie hole. And he decides to lay up, which was questionable because at 230 iron shot for him is not out of the question. But okay, it's fine to lay up. He gave himself 98 yards. And I am not being hyperbolic, and I'm not even really talking about my golf game. From 98 yards in the middle of that fairway, with 25 yards of green left of that pin, all of which funnels to the pin, your neighborhood 5 handicap is going to hit that shot properly 19 out of 20 times and just fly it up onto the green left. Like a 5 handicap. Rory's one of the greatest players the game's ever seen. That wedge shot is the worst shot he has hit in his entire life. I could not believe my eyes watching a guy that seemed to be in that much control to have such an easy shot. And I know it's the Masters, and I know there's a lot of pressure, and I know those of you that are driving around listening going, this guy's an idiot. You know how much pressure it is trying to play with the Masters? You just laid out all that, and I get it. That's an easy shot. It's a 60-degree wedge up to a huge target, all of which funnels back down to the hole. You hit it up there. If you make the putt for birdie, great. If you don't, you tap in for par and move on. To miss right of that hole is almost impossible for a guy that good. I could not believe my eyes. And then he comes back and hits those brilliant shots in response to that. I mean, the shot he hit on 17 was just amazing. Big, high draw right below the hole, 2 feet. And then the hard shot on 18 for Rory is the drive because it's narrow and Rory likes to turn it over with a draw and it really calls for a cut. And I mean, he pumps it with a 1-shot lead right down Broadway. And he's got a gap wedge and he can't hit it on the green. A gap wedge. Leaves it in the right trap. And then he gives himself 4 feet. And you just got to think that putt's going to go in. And he missed it. Came up out of it. Yippee stroke. Same thing at Pinehurst. I just can't. His caddy, who's his childhood buddy, Harry, said, it's kind of the same thing I said with LSU baseball earlier today. He said, look, we walked off the green, you would have given your arm on Monday to be in a playoff. And he would have. But you feel like you gave it away. Because you had a wedge in your hand on 18 and couldn't put it on the green. And then you had 4 feet to finish it and couldn't do it. And all the while, there's Justin Rose. Put this in perspective. Justin Rose made 10 birdies yesterday. Rory McIlroy's finishing score after 72 holes was 11 under par to win the Masters. And Rose made 10 birdies yesterday on a fiery Augusta golf course. That place was baked. It was crispy. And Justin Rose was phenomenal. And with all the scar tissue that Rory's playing with and with the amount of firepower that Justin Rose was displaying, it felt like Rose was going to win that playoff. And Rose takes the honor and he hits it right down the chute. And Rory responds with another brilliant drive. He was 2 yards closer in the playoff than he was on 18. And Rose puts the pressure on Rory, puts it on the green, gives himself a makeable putt, and Rory comes up with a shot of his life. So often in sports, you only get that one chance to make a play. You get one at bat. You get one shot from the three-point line. You get one chance to go make a catch or make a sack. You get one chance. And if you miss that opportunity, you think about it forever. Rory had his chance on the 72nd hole, and he didn't come through. And then he got to hit the same shot a second time. And he came through and hit the perfect shot, knocked it in there 2 feet. How many times have you, the recreational golfer, slice one out of bounds, then re-tee and pump it right down the middle? You have a wedge in the middle of the fairway, you lay the sod over it, it's a terrible shot, you drop one that doesn't count, you knock it up there to 8 feet. Like, the second time you get to hit the shot, you feel like you've kind of, or the pressure's off. that's not apples to apples because this one actually does count as in a playoff, but he got another chance to make the swing, and he delivered. And to me, the Masters, Rory deserved to win the Masters. Like, I feel like he should be at the champions dinner. I feel like he should have a green jacket. I feel like he should be a Masters champion. The best players in the history of the sport, sans Greg Norman, who I now despise, have all won the Masters. All of them. Like, there just aren't. The greats in the history of golf have won at Augusta. Now, you've still got your Trevor Immelmans and Mike Weirs that have won too, but the greats and the titans of the game have won at Augusta. And Rory hadn't. And now he has. And you can put Brooks Koepka in that because of the major championship sets that he's had. But Brooks has not played with this burden for a decade the way that Rory has. And you have to think that this is Rory's life's work. Like, he has completed what he felt he needed to do in the game of golf. And he does so at the age of 35. I think he would have had a hard time truly compartmentalizing his career if he never won the Masters. And that's the pressure that he had to play with. And it showed because he hit some just awful shots. Awful shots. But he hit some great ones. That 7-iron into 15 was just breathtaking. And then he missed the putt. But Rory, this is the most consequential victory in the world of golf since Tiger Woods in the early 2000s. It's been about 20 years since a win meant this much in golf. And it was thrilling to watch all of that on Sunday. At the greatest scene in golf, with the most famous player in golf, trying to join the most exclusive club in golf, it was all just incredible. And one of the things that happened yesterday that I could not have forecasted, my wife, who does not care about sports at all, was just locked in. Absolutely locked in. She sent me texts. She was rewatching it earlier today. We DVR'd it at home. And she said, when he won, it's awesome. I have tears. And he hugs his daughter. I love golf now. Oh my God, this is so emotional. Oh my God, when he sees Lowry, that's so sweet. My wife has not watched a round of golf in her entire life. And she was completely locked in on Augusta yesterday. That was quite simply, as I said to lead things off, the greatest golf tournament I've ever watched yesterday. Bar none. And I don't know what the Masters can do for an encore moving forward, but with Tiger in 19, you kind of had to wait 6 years for another great one. You got it. And if we have to wait another 6 years, I'll make it through. But having that one in the back pocket, that's one that I will remember forever. It was that good at Augusta. All right, let's take a timeout. Come back, talk some Derek Carr. What do the Saints do now? It's Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. If you want to do the whole deal, the whole bathroom renovation, soup to nuts, David Duvall, One Bath and Closets can handle it. They can do it. And for some, that may sound daunting. It may sound really time-consuming, invasive to your home, may sound not very cost-effective. Like, all that can be true. Like, if you're talking about a huge renovation, that's going to be a big investment, both time and money. But you don't have to do something at that scale. How about just a simple tub-to-shower conversion? If you don't use your bathtub, you don't like the way the tub looks, it's not functional, get rid of it. Put in a gorgeous glass walk-in shower. Changes the aesthetic of your home, changes the functionality of your bathroom, and it adds some value to your home. It's One Bath and Closets. Start with that free consultation with David Duvall and his team. There are financing options available. It's One Bath and Closets. You can check them out online, OneBathAndClosets.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
I'm supposed to know who sings that song. Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Great job.
It took a
I'm
second.
actually proud.
Took a second. Can't tell you what
Because
it's called.
I can't let you live down the fact that you thought Vertical Horizon was Matchbox 20. Like, I really can't.
I love those two bands. I had the CDs, the Matchbox 20 one with the guy with the pilot hat on, and then Vertical Horizon. I had that. I listen to those CDs a lot.
Yeah.
But they're very similar. They sound similar.
They sound similar. I'll give you that. But
Chili
I just
Peppers.
can't. Yeah.
I know they got Californication.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they got one that's like surfing or waving or something. I don't know. Whatever.
It's not this.
All right, let's talk some Saints. So Friday afternoon, Ian Rappaport breaks the news. Derek Carr is now dealing with a shoulder injury that threatens his availability for this season. Carr is weighing options, including the possibility of surgery. For the purposes of this segment, I'm going to proceed as if Derek Carr is unavailable to play at all in 2025. That's, I think, a reasonable conclusion to draw. I wouldn't suggest it's concrete. I don't think that's been officially reported, but let's just proceed as if that's the case. Here's my take on it. I think it can be a positive for the organization. It's certainly a negative for the 2025 season. Makes the Saints a worse team right now. But my feeling on the Saints has been the same for a good while now. And that is that this season is not going to be a championship level season. Vegas thinks that. Analysts think that. I think that. It's a pretty commonly held belief. But we don't think the Saints believe that. We think the Saints believe we were awesome for 2 games last year. Then we got hurt. Well, we're not going to be as hurt this year. We've got a new coaching staff. We're going to add some players in the draft. We've added a little bit in free agency. We're going to be a competitive team. We can win this division. And they probably still think that today, quite frankly, because they're probably just wired that way. They probably just believe blindly that they can get it done. Just give me a few more pieces. I once very candidly asked Jeremy Hill, who played on a couple of bad Bengals teams, does everybody think they're going to win the Super Bowl in August? And he said yes. Yes, they do. And that, based on what we hear in press conferences and the actions the Saints take, they kind of feel that way too. But the Saints aren't going to win the Super Bowl this year. And if this injury in any way alters the approach to the rest of this offseason by forcing the Saints to be a little bit less aggressive, then it is a positive. Now, if they do something rash to overpay or to hemorrhage assets to go get a quarterback, that could be a disaster. But if they take the approach of, okay, we don't have Derek Carr, we do have Spencer Rattler, we do have Jay Kaner, there are veteran quarterbacks available like Teddy Bridgewater that we can sign, and we need to take the mindset that, well, we are hurt. We saw what happened last year when we get hurt. It's not very good. Let's work on the foundation of the franchise as opposed to trying to fill that one missing piece that we seem to think there exists when in reality it doesn't. Let's ramp this thing down. Let's let Spencer Rattler play a year. Let's let Teddy Bridgewater be the starting quarterback, and let's focus on getting a lot of good young players in this draft. Let's trade back and get more draft picks because the season's already compromised with no starting quarterback. Like, if there's a chance that could be the result of this injury and Derek Carr's time as a New Orleans Saint coming to an end, then it will be a positive. I feel bad for Derek Carr. I think he's a good dude. I think he's said a lot of the right things. I think he's played tough. I wish he was in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. There are a couple things I'd like to change, but you don't want a guy to get hurt. But if we're just talking about football here and we're taking the personal part out of this, if this allows the Saints to truly look at this as a reset, and then potentially, if we're going to further this discussion down the road, potentially if the Saints just bottom out this year and pick first or second in the next draft, where there should be some talented quarterbacks available, this may end up being part of the restart of the organization. I'm being ambitious, I know. I'm probably painting this a little bit rosier than I should. But I don't think I'm being unreasonable. I think it's reasonable to suggest that the Saints could look at the situation, understand that 2025 is probably not the priority, that the future of the franchise is the priority, draft that way, make a cheap free agent quarterback signing that way. Season may not go great. You don't hold that completely against Kellen Moore. You hope that some young guys come through and develop a little bit, and you feel like you've got some guys that can fill some holes at an affordable price. Then you draft your quarterback of the future. Then you get moving. That's not unreasonable to suggest it could happen. Now, it's also not unreasonable to suggest that Miggy Loomis feels like his phone's on fire and he's got to call somebody and he's got to trade draft picks to get up and get another quarterback, and things could go badly in that instance. But I'm choosing to believe the other way. I'm choosing to believe that they'll be patient, that they'll shift their course, that they'll understand that the actual roster is in a bad spot that's been worsened by the injury of your starting quarterback. It's okay to have a bad season. I tell y'all this all the time. I'm not in the foxhole with you as a Saints fan. I prefer they win. My blood pressure does not raise. When LSU plays on Saturday night, I remember looking at somebody in the press box during the Ole Miss game this past year going, I can't feel my legs. That's my emotional response to LSU playing football. I don't have that emotional response on Sundays. So sometimes when I try to analyze the Saints, I try to play off of my Cubs fandom, which I do get emotionally invested deeply in the Cubs. And the Cubs had to go through a rebuild. They had to trade the best players from their championship core. They had to trade Anthony Rizzo and trade Chris Bryant, trade Javi Baez, and trade they had to trade a number of the guys that helped them get where they needed to be. They had to let Wilson Contreras walk and let John Lester walk, and that hurt. But the Cubs got there to the championship by hitting on first-round picks and making the appropriate free agent signing when the time came with John Lester. And for the Saints, you can get it turned around quickly if you do things the right way. And that means taking draft picks and not being overzealous in free agent and further hamstringing yourself from a salary cap perspective. And you can get it turned around in 2 or 3 years. You've already had 1 year. This is year 2. I feel like it's reasonable if they'll just do things the right way. And there's a chance that Derek Carr going down expedites this process, or at least the Saints' realization that that's the process that they're in. It does make this coming fall less exciting. That stinks. But if you were of the mindset that this fall was probably going to stink anyway, what'd you lose? Nothing. And you might gain something in the process with a shift in the organization. So I don't know what the Saints are going to do at quarterback. I don't know when they found this news out and what it means for their draft strategy. Maybe that is why they were going and looking at as many quarterbacks as they have. But I can be hopeful that a shift is coming with the New Orleans Saints and that Derek Carr's injury has been a catalyst in getting there a little bit more quickly. Those are my thoughts on the black and gold. If you're looking for Saints content, you can always find it at Hunt on Saints on YouTube. Also, wherever you find your podcast, Hunt on Saints. All Saints all year round. Take a time out. Got 30 minutes left on a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show. You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
I feel stupid, but I know it won't last for long. And I've been guessing, and I could have been guessing wrong.
Matchbox 20. Nailed it. Rob Thomas, is that his name?
Yeah.
I got all the answers, Alondra.
I'm very impressed.
You should be. Let's talk some LSU baseball. Not a good outing for Chase Shores on Sunday, and that's just kind of been the theme of his SEC stretch here. Better in frigid conditions in Norman 2 weeks ago, but not great on Sunday. Chase Shores was never going to get a long leash on Sunday because LSU had Zach Cowan and Kason Evans fully rested and ready to go. They hadn't used them in 2 losses on Friday and Saturday, so you were going to get to them very, very quickly. It was going to really be at the first sign of trouble, and you weren't going to let the game kind of get out of hand without going to the strongest part of your team, which is now Zach Cowan and Kason Evans at the back end of bullpen. So Shores is pulled after 2 innings. He gives up 3 hits and 3 runs. They're all earned. He walked 2, struck out 2. He also hit a batter. In 18 2/3 innings of work for Shores, he's walked in the SEC play. 18 2/3 innings, 13 walks, and 3 hit batters. So that's 16 free bases in 18 2/3. That's nearly a free base every inning. And then you add to that SEC hitters are hitting 297 off of him. And it's just a bit of a problem. And when you watch Shores pitch, like, he's got a 97-mile-an-hour fastball that's got some sink. He spins the slider okay. It's not an elite pitch, but when you got 97 coming the other way, it's a good enough pitch. He just doesn't miss enough bats. The strikeout numbers are low, walk numbers are up, and it just feels like it's ambitious to assume he's really going to emerge as a force for LSU. It's not impossible. Ty Floyd did it, but Shores just hasn't shown that. And I'm not asking for a Sunday starter, a third starter, to go out there and give me 7 one-run innings with 11 strikeouts. Like that, nobody has that. But you're talking about 18 2/3 innings. We'll call it, for the sake of math, 19 innings in 5 SEC outings. That's less than 4 in an outing. There's just no length there. There's no dominance there. There's just very, very, very average stuff. And I don't have a great solution to it. I think it's obvious at this point that Zach Cowan is one of LSU's best 3 pitchers. And I think he would be better than Chase Shores as LSU's 3rd starter. But I want to have him available in the first 2 games. I want to have him available in the 7th inning of a game to come in and get the last 9 outs. And I'm not willing to compromise that to go put him in the back end of the weekend rotation. I mean, you look at Cowan in SEC play. He's gone 19 1/3 innings, 1 earned run, 23 strikeouts, 4 walks. Opponents are hitting 145 against him. That's dominant stuff. Cowan's SEC only ERA is 0.47. Like, he's just baffling teams. And so while I would suggest that he's your best option as a 3rd starter, like, that doesn't mean he has to become a weekend starter in SEC play to start a postseason game. I'm good right now keeping him in his bullpen role and going to him the first time you've got a lead. If you have another weekend like this past weekend where you don't win one of the first 2 games and he doesn't pitch, you want to start him instead of Chase Shores, I'm okay with it. And certainly if you got into a regional situation, let's just say Cade Anderson pitched Friday, Anthony Ianson pitched on Saturday, you're coming back on Sunday and you lose a game, like, Shores would probably pitch that. That's not a good example. The point I'm trying to make is, like, if you had to win a game in Omaha or regional and Shores and Cowan were available, I'm perfectly fine starting Cowan in that game because you have got him stretched out now to the point that he can absolutely go 5 or 6 innings. Absolutely. That's not new to him. Last year, he was a Friday starter. Last year, he threw over 100 innings. His pitch count has been up this year. You've done a good job of maintaining that length. Again, I've told you that I think it makes sense for LSU to try to shorten his outings in an Omaha-like situation out of the bullpen because it allows you to use him more quickly again. But if you get into a spot where you got to win a game and your options are to go with Cowan as a starter and potentially having Shores out of the bullpen and certainly having Case and Evans out of the bullpen available, that's fine too. Like I'm good with him starting. So I wouldn't shake it up right now, but it's something that I think I would think about because Shores is just really fighting it in SEC play to this point. I've seen enough good from Ianson not to panic about Saturday's game this week. If his two outfielders help him out with two nice catches, his line looks a lot better, and I'm certainly not going to panic about Cade Anderson, even though Mississippi State hit him a little bit and then Auburn hit him a little bit. The start in between those was pretty good, and I feel like he's going to be just fine. He's not Skeens, but he's pretty damn good SEC ace. And so your really only question mark is at the back end. But thankfully, this past weekend, you did see some guys step up out of the bullpen and eat some outs, and that's an important thing, whether Shores figures it out or not, because you're going to have to get outs later in the game on game threes when he pitches. The last thing I want to talk about with baseball is third base. I know that a lot of folks are clamoring for Michael Braswell to play a little bit more. No question, Tanner Reeves' defense is an issue. He has kicked the ball more than you would like to this point. Do I have a fielding percentage on Tanner Reeves here? I do. 820. No, that's David Hogg. 821 is the fielding percentage. That's unacceptable. You can't field 821. If you're on the left side of an SEC infield, I'd like you to field 960-ish. He's way below that. As a team, you'd like to field 980. Left side of the infield is going to produce more errors just naturally. So I'll dip you down to 960 or so. Stephen Milam's been phenomenal. He's at 977. So yeah, that's not good enough, and you might have to consider Braswell every day. But I wouldn't make that change right now because I like the way those guys swing the bat from the proper side of the plate. I like Braswell against lefties. I like Reeves against righties. Those guys have had the success that they have had to this point because they've been put in a position to succeed. That's the beauty of the platoon. And you look at SEC play, Tanner Reeves is hitting 294. Michael Braswell is hitting 308. Like, I don't know if those guys would have a batting average that high if they were facing same-sided pitchers more often than they currently do. They've done it a little bit, but not a lot. That may be something we can look at, but I like the fact that those guys are swinging the bat really well. If Reeves continues to kick the ball around, we'll change the discussion. More information, differing of opinion, that can happen. But I'm okay with the platoon right now with an understanding that you may have to make a shift. So to look at those two spots on the field, okay, I want to keep Shores in the third spot and Cowan out of the bullpen right now, but let's put a bookmark next to this if we need to make a change. I want to keep the platoon at third base with Reeves and Braswell right now. Put a bookmark on it. Reeves kicks another ball this weekend. We'll talk about it. But that's kind of where I am right now. LSU and McNeese go at it tomorrow at the box, 6:30 first pitch on a Tuesday night as the Pokes come to town. They're having a good year under Justin Hill, former Tiger, as their head coach. Our Monday show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products, GCOPnet.com, GCOPnet.com. You can do business with the big, huge box store, but you're just going to be a line item. If you call them, you might get a recorded line in Atlanta or San Francisco or something. You can do business with the mom and pop shop, but do they have the capabilities to handle your needs? You're going to get a warm response. You'll get good customer service. Do they have the resources available? Well, why don't you just split the difference? Go with Gulf Coast Office Products. They've got that local feel. They've got a phenomenal local team. They can help you out anywhere here in the state of Louisiana, and they've got the resources to best service your needs. For all your printing, scanning, copying needs, it's Gulf Coast Office Products. You can find them online, gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com. It's Gulf Coast Office Products. They bring you our Monday shows. We'll come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com is that website. You're going to feel like a guest at Genesis of Baton Rouge, not a customer. It's just part of the experience. And that buying experience can start at genesisofbatonrouge.com, and it doesn't have to take you to the dealership. You can request a remote test drive, meaning one of their brand ambassadors gets behind the wheel, comes to you at your office, at your home, and y'all take a spin. If you decide, yeah, this is what I want, great. They can do e-contracts, digital delivery. You never set foot on the lot. I'd prefer it if you set foot on the lot because it's a phenomenal facility and a great staff, and you can get a feel for everything that they've got right in front of you. It's at Airline and PQ across from Women's Hospital. Go check it out. But if you don't like your experiences in the past at a car dealership and you're looking for a little bit of a different buying experience, Genesis can help you out with that. Genesis of Baton Rouge, you can find them online, genesisofbatonrouge.com, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
The Verve.
Okay.
Bittersweet Symphony. Not to be confused with the Verve Pipe.
No.
Who sings Freshman.
Freshman, yes. I'm actually, okay. I saw you over there about to say it, and I was like, there's no way he gets this one. So I'm like,
me and my
very
buddy
impressed.
Scott Salvell listened to Bittersweet Symphony 953 times in a row on the way from Shreveport to Dallas before we went to Six Flags one year.
That's an acceptable amount of times to listen to it.
It was rocking.
It's a great song.
We did a
incredible
we
vibes.
got to film a commercial in 5th grade, and we put this song on the
Was
back
the
of it,
old
too.
man in the commercial the Six Flags old man?
No. This is a school project completely separate of the Six Flags trip. We just had to do a commercial, and we did it for pens, and we did Bittersweet Symphony. Just weird stuff that I remember from childhood.
Yeah.
Great song.
Amazing song.
All right, big show tomorrow. We'll have Glenn West talking Tigers. We'll talk LSU football from Saturday. Glenn was sitting right next to me for the whole scrimmage, and then we'll certainly talk some LSU baseball with him as well. Sharif Ishak will jump aboard. Big news from the Pelicans today. We'll get into that here and take it or leave it, but talk to Sharif about that as well as the Derek Carr situation. So lots to do on tomorrow's show. Very much looking forward to it. Our Monday shows brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. All your printing, scanning, copying needs, Gulf Coast Office Products. Let's finish things up here with a little take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right. That's like my first time hearing that, and that's really different than what it was last time. Take it or leave it. Rory McIlroy will win another Masters.
I'm going to take it. I think he does win another Masters. This is going to be the most freeing thing for him. He now no longer really has to play any round of golf with the immense pressure like he did yesterday. He can just go play, and he's still got plenty of game to go out there and do it. He is 35, so he can't play forever, but he has withstood the test of time longer than anybody in this generation. You've had these incredible thunderbolts like Brooks Koepka had and like Jordan Spieth had, and you've had some of that, but those guys have faded off, and Rory really has not done that. So I think he will probably win another major, win another Masters. There's a real chance he wins another major this year. He's that good. The courses suit him that well. Quail Hollow's next, where he can have a great go, but he's already won there 4 times as a pro. So, I think he will win another green jacket.
All right, the Pelicans fired David Griffin and are reportedly hiring Joe Dumars to run basketball operations. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it.
Leave it alone.
Dumars hasn't worked in this capacity in a decade. He's been working with the NBA, but he hasn't been in an organization. He had a good run with the Pistons. He is a Louisiana guy, obviously. David Griffin was a huge get when the Pelicans hired him, and I don't know that he did a terrible job. Like, look at some of the draft picks that they have hit on. You've got some really good players that he's found that were not in the lottery. Trey Murphy's been a really good find. East Missy had a really good rookie year. Dyson Daniels is a really good player. Like, he's done some good things. They just couldn't keep the stars on the floor. And when your stars aren't in the floor in that league, like, you have no chance. That league is built on stars, and the Pelican stars stay in the training room and not on the floor. So, tough go for David Griffin. I'm not over the moon about the Joe Dumars hire, but we'll see. That franchise has just kind of been rudderless for a long time. We'll see if they can figure something out.
Speaking of league stars, Aaron Judge is going to be the captain of Team USA for the 2026 World Baseball Classic. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to take it. That's great. That's fantastic. He's among the best players in baseball, maybe the second best player to Ohtani in baseball. The World Baseball Classic found a little bit of traction last year, and you finished with that incredible ending that had Shohei Ohtani pitching against Mike Trout with the World Baseball Classic final on the line. Had some drama, walk-off home run by Team USA earlier in the tournament. So I thought it was pretty good. I'm not going to set my watch by the World Baseball Classic. If it's on, I'll probably watch some of it. But to have Aaron Judge play in it is absolutely a positive. So that's a good thing for Team USA to have him. He's good at baseball.
Last one, Patrick Peterson announced his retirement from football today. Pat Pete is a Hall of Famer. Take it or leave it.
I don't have a great feel for this one. I saw his statistics. He was a 3-time first-team All-Pro and an 8-time Pro Bowler. That feels like it's borderline to me. Of course, we around here know Patrick Peterson so well because he was a huge recruit when he was Patrick Johnson at the time and a 5-star, and he came in and was immediately an impact guy at LSU and was a great player through his time from 2008 through 2010 in Baton Rouge, became a super high pick. But he plays cornerback. I just don't know if he's a guy that was roundly known by your average NFL fan. I certainly hope he's a Hall of Famer because he's a great dude and a heck of a player and a great ambassador for LSU. It's good enough to give us a little bit of time on after further review with Matt and T-Bob before the Super Bowl, so that was really cool. I hope he's a Hall of Famer. That'd be great for LSU to add to that list. You're looking at a few guys that could be knocking on that door here over the next 20 years. So I would love it if Pat Pete could make it. I'm going to take it. I think he's got a chance to get in. It's good, I think, and I don't know anything about this, but apparently he kind of had a riff with the Cardinals on the way out with their general manager and like demanded a trade and then walked it back and ended up not re-signing and going to Minnesota and then ultimately to Pittsburgh. He didn't play this past season, but today he did retire as a Cardinal and went back to Arizona and signed that deal and I think has mended those fences. So that's good. I can't pretend to care at all about the Arizona Cardinals, but it's a good thing if they've mended fences. So that's good for Pat Pete, and hopefully one day he does get a gold jacket. That would be awesome. All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It here on this Monday. Busy show. If you missed any of it, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound, whether that's 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, wherever you find it, you can find us. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Always appreciate if you like, subscribe, rate, and review. Open the show on a somber note. Obviously, tragic loss of Kyron Lacey over the weekend. That was the lead of the show. Then we moved into some LSU baseball, talked about their offense, and talked a little bit about the defense and their resume at this point as we hit the halfway point of SEC play. If you want to catch that, you certainly can on demand. Gave my spring football practice thoughts at the end of hour number 1. Led there with LSU's defensive ends, which I thought played great. Also liked the creativity in the running game. So you can check that out at Hunt on LSU, wherever you find your sound. All LSU football all the time. At 2 o'clock, I detail what I believe to be the greatest golf tournament I've ever watched, the 2025 Masters. Derek Carr's injury, what does it mean for the Saints? Could it potentially be a good thing? Not for Derek Carr, but maybe for the Saints. Talked about that at 2:15. A little baseball with pitching and defense at 2:30, so go check all that out. Looking forward to tomorrow's show, but we're done for today. Matt's going to drive you home on After Further View. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place. That'll be a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The Hunt Palmer Show.